Dealing with the topic of the kingdom of God, I wanted to make this video to add upon a concept that I spoke in the previous video, and this is the idea that this quote-unquote kingdom of God or heaven is within us. This is what Jesus said, and this is what is the belief of Christians. Although there's also the belief that there's somehow a kingdom in the clouds or some sort of a holy city where everything is occurring. If we think about some of the modern theories on alternate realms or multiverses or the things like that, if we think about the universe and the multiplicity of possibilities that are out there, we cannot totally discard this idea completely out. Although it enters into the realm of sci-fi, it enters into the realm of fantasy, and this common concept, common idea within Christians, amongst Christians, that there is some sort of a cloudy realm and that there is a deity who has the profile of some sort of tyrannical ego ruler, which is the God of the Jewish tradition. It's completely out of the question. This was made upon some of the passages in the Bible that refer to the events both in the Old Testament and the New Testament around the prophets, around the people who were supposed to have these supernatural abilities or created these great events or had an uncommon knowledge, but these were the people who were around them and try to understand what the quote-unquote truth of God was, but this does not make it very accurate. And it's 2000 years after that, millions of people follow these beliefs without question, based on a single source evidence. Now, I've already spoke about and explained this topic from the book in the previous video, but just to add upon the concept and to add upon the evidence, and my whole point throughout the book that where I make the case that a lot of the issues with the modern understanding of Christianity comes because the language and the connotation of certain words and the translations which were adapted to our understanding of what perhaps were higher cosmological ideas from people who were quote-unquote enlightened or who had certain specific experiences that we are seeing today coming from the modern research done upon altered states of mind like NDEs, OBEs, or even entheogens, DMTM, psilocybin. So I will quickly read that passage again. It goes, "And when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of God should come, he answered them and said, The kingdom of God cometh not with observation, neither shall they say, Lo here or lo there. For behold, the kingdom of God is within you." Luke 17, 20, 21. As I've said, I've already explained this in the previous video, but to the specific word where it says the kingdom of God is within you, if we look at the word for within, we realize that in the Greek, the transliteration is enthos, which in turn comes from the word entheos. Enthos was used in ancient Greek language. It was used to describe some of the rituals. We know that the Greeks had a huge pantheon of gods which represented different archetypes or emotions or attitudes, profiles of humans. Even idyllic personas or idyllic characters. Some of these rituals of practices involved things that were made to create a state of mind, to transcend the physical experience. Now, this word is commonly defined as in God or in spirit, but I would argue that it has more of a connotation to achieve a trance-like state, which is completely understandable if we study the research that I mentioned coming from the altered states of mind. We also have to take into account that most of the Eastern traditions are looking to this trance-like mental state. In time, this word evolved into what we know as Enthousiasmos in Greek, which was attributed to again to the gods, but more in a literal fashion, more akin to literature, to poetry, to any sort of creative endeavor, poetry and so on, even inspiration by the philosophers. Today this word is literally translated in possession of a god. It's very interesting, the connotation that it has in Greek. It's a possession, it's an absolute surrender of the mind to the divine. Of course, this word today is enthusiasm, what we know as any eagerness towards anything or any excitement towards anything. But having this idea of what the Greek word is actually, and what the word in the Bible was, we get a better idea of what perhaps Jesus meant with the quote-unquote kingdom is within. The kingdom is some sort of a possession, some sort of a trance-like state, some sort of a transcendental state of mind. And now I also argued that there is the possibility that the kingdom is also all around, because some of the translations say the kingdom of God is within you or among you, in your midst, some other translations suggest. So it's kind of hard to understand the accuracy of these words, especially in Greek, where the connotations can mean different things. So this enthos is within, but in an expanded manner. So this is probably where some people got the idea that it was all around as well. But we also have to take into account that there are many variables, and one of these variables could include the way that the original author understood the concept, either straight from Jesus or from whatever source it was. So whether they really understood that it was within or outside or all around, there's no way of knowing this, at least with a single source evidence, which is why today it should be shocking that there are so many Christians who base their whole lives on single source evidence from 2000 years ago. But in any case, we have new evidence to work upon this concept. As I mentioned in the previous video, we have the Gospel of Thomas, which was these carbon dated documents that refer to the era where the other documents from the scriptures were gathered from, and which has been deemed legitimate by scholars and translated as well. Now this document is in Coptic, which is an ancient form of Egyptian language. It is a much more difficult language to translate and understand, but it gives us a much better understanding to what the whole thing is about. I will put in this video the image from the translation, and I will put a link below for the website where the interlinear English Coptic translation comes from. If we read this version of the passage, it gives us a much deeper understanding to what the whole thing is all about, which goes hand in hand with all the other philosophies, all the other religions, and some of the deeper theories that the modern evidence and the modern scientists are coming from. So it mentions the thing about the birds and about the fish and how they will precede you if you say that the kingdom is there. But then it says, and I'm gonna read the interlinear version, it says, rather the kingdom, she is of your inner, and she is of your eye, outer. When you should know yourselves, then they will know. Now it is very interesting that it does mention that the kingdom is inner, it's inside, but it clearly specifies that she is of your eye, specifically outer, what you see with your eyes. This is the understanding that perhaps Jesus wanted us to see. The kingdom is within us and all around. There is a very high chance that we are always in the kingdom. If you're on the path of finding the truth about reality and our purpose as humans on Earth, the information that I have to share concerns you. After a lifetime of research in philosophies ranging from Buddhism to the occult, I've encountered themes and patterns along some baffling information that is beginning to be seriously studied by science. A Rational Divine Outline, The Ghost of Jesus, is the first iteration of this project, where I analyze the message of Jesus without dogmatism, fanaticism, or religious bias. You can find my work available on Amazon on the link below. If you find this work valuable, consider subscribing, sharing, and following me on social media, as it'll help others in the same path to find this information. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.